So there are some athletes that are at increased risk of bone issues, and usually this occurs in endurance sports, particularly endurance sports that are non-weight bearing, things like cycling or swimming. And these athletes are at an increased risk, particularly if they also practice low energy availability. That's not necessarily to say that all athletes in that particular sport are going to have low bone mass or have bone issues. It's just to say that they are at an increased risk compared to others. Of course, the converse to that is that there are some athletes that have very strong bones, and usually that's in activities and sports that are high impact, high intensity, involve a lot of multi-directional movement, so things like football, basketball, rugby, hockey, those kinds of sports. And if we think about wider bone issues, then of course there are some athletes that are increased risk of stress fracture injury. But it's important to note that this is not just in those sports where there's an increased risk of lower bone mass. It can be also in some of those sports that would otherwise induce a stronger bone. And quite often the stress fracture injuries come about with a change in technique or a change in training volume or change in training time, change in technique or the equipment used.